Hello, my name is Sophia Serez, and this is my project proposal plan for Intro to Game Studies. I chose to focus my project on the theme of avatar and identity, so I propose a 10 to 15 minute video essay that explores the different ways players express identity in video games, whether it's through choosing a car model, customizing a weapon, or designing a character's appearance. And so this kind of means like the different ways that you can customize your character. This project will focus on how representation works across different customization systems, the creative potential of avatar design, and how even within visual or mechanical limitations, for example like Minecraft, pixels, many players find meaningful ways to express who they are, even through these constraints, and that's something I'm going to be focusing on. So my thesis statement, it is still in progress, is this: being able to choose and design your own avatar matters because representation shapes not only how others see us, but how we see ourselves, even within the creative limitations that a video game holds. Avatar design can be a powerful space for reclaiming identity and expressing individuality. That is my thesis. I developed a research question because I was thinking about it and I was wondering, does the ability to customize your avatar affect long-term player engagement in video games? And my hypothesis is yes, because personalization helps players feel seen, connected, and creatively involved in the game world. And this to me means if I'm able to choose my character, I usually want to go back and play that game more than if I'm not able to choose anything about my character, because it just feels less personal. A few key terms I'm going to be looking into are avatars, identity, self-expression, self-representation, skins, customization, player engagement. So the format of the video essay is going to begin with a little intro explaining where my love of character design came from. And yeah, it really came from Bitstrips. This is the first, I think, time I was able to make a character, and I would constantly be making characters that looked like my parents or like me, and I wanted to get it to as close as reality as possible, even with the cartoon style aesthetic that it had. There were a few games like that growing up where I would try and make them look as close to my family and me as possible. And I really liked doing that with like Wii Sport and like those kind of games. And then I also want to talk about the games where you can't really choose everything about the character and you kind of have to work within like preset characteristics. For example, Rock Band. This is a game where you can't really choose exactly what your character looks like, but you have a lot of options. You have outfit changes, you have, face shape, you got all this stuff, but it's not full customization. And for this game, I would explore a little bit more with like finding my own personality. I think like even as a kid, I started like getting in touch with my own sexuality through this in a way, because there's this gargoyle shirt that was like a little revealing, and as a kid this was very much like, whoa, I can like choose this shirt, and it's crazy. So I think that's an interesting way of looking at how we represent ourselves. So I just talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to be talking about 3 different types of customization in my video. Type 1 is going to be full customization. You can change anything pretty much. Type 2, limited preset choices. You can still change things, but not fully. And then type 3 is you just have your character, you can't change it. And this could be like, you have a male character or a female character, quotations, and, they look the same, you can't change them, but could also mean that you literally can't change what you are. Avatars as emotional and psychological shields. So this is part 2 of my video essay. I'm going to be dividing it into 3 parts. The focus on this is how avatars let people hide, explore, and try new identities in a safe way. And this is what I was talking about with the gargoyle in the Rock Band. I was like a younger person wearing this like scandalous Rock Band outfit, and no one can see me, so I can do whatever I want. In games like Minecraft, no one can see your real face. That's another fact that I want to touch on. Like, when you're playing a game, you can do audio chat, but you can't see their face. So you gotta like kind of make up what everybody looks like. So everybody's hiding behind these identities. And this section will be just talking about how avatars can become digital masks and unpacking what this means as a player. Again, creative freedom within limitations. I'm really interested in that. I love how games have limitations Okay, part 3 is representation and retention. This is the player engagement kind of thing. This is kind of where I'm aiming my research question at. I just wrote what I think here, that players are more likely to stay engaged with games when they can customize their experience. I'll argue that when people feel represented, they feel more connected, and this drives long-term engagement. And this is true, especially when looking at the research articles that I was reading for this course. I was seeing people want representation. They want to see themselves in these games. So it makes sense that they would, play longer if they actually have something that they can connect to. It's like a personal connection through video game. So my conclusion for the video essay will be avatar design is more than a cosmetic choice. It's a form of digital self-expression, creativity, and even self-protection. I was watching a few YouTube video essays on this, and somebody was speaking as a trans woman, and she was saying that from her perspective, it's a lot safer to try out all these skins online, which I found really interesting because it is kind of like hiding, but it's also a way to step out of your comfort zone and step into somebody that you want to be. In the conclusion, I'll restate my key point again, my main point that even with limited or pixelated formats, avatars offer a way to tell the world who they are and who we want to be. And then I'll kind of go over my thesis again. The stylistic approach to this video will be, like a video essay. I had to research what that was. But, it's going to start with an intro, the thesis, the research question, then I'm going to have 3 points, and I'm going to have a conclusion. But for the scenes, I'm going to be including a lot of gameplay footage of character design screens. I'm gonna have to design a few characters for this video. I think I might include some videos of actually playing the games, but I think everything is going to have to do with what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna add random scenes. I think everything will kind of be on par with what's going on in the video. That brings me to part 2 of this project proposal, the research components. These are a couple games that I'm gonna look into. So, for my choice of assigned course reading, I chose Playing, Performing, Policing, and Navigating Avatar Experience in Second Life. And this is the article that I was talking about a minute earlier. People want to see themselves. So in the article, there's 2 artists, and they both do different types of work. So the first project highlights how creating digital avatars of yourself can be powerful and a powerful way to reclaim identity, especially for groups who are often excluded from mainstream narratives. And this is what I was saying earlier, is people want to see themselves, and the more ability you have to choose and make somebody look like yourself in a game, the more connected you're going to be, because it feels like you're playing it rather than some person who you've never seen before and you have a disconnect. It's the same as, I guess, naming yourself in a video game. You kind of want to be named. The reason I chose this article is because it supports my thesis by showing how avatar customization can be a tool for cultural expression and political resistance. And I'll use her work to explore how avatars help players not only express individuality, but also address bigger issues like representation and belonging. And then the next work I'm going to be looking at is the second work in the article. Mika, she uses her avatar to dive deep into identity as well, showing how being seen by others in digital spaces impacts how we understand ourselves. Her experience demonstrates that even when creative limits exist, players push boundaries to express identity meaningfully. So basically, this article in general very much is going with my theme. It is because I chose the topic of this week, so it makes sense that I would use this article. The next articles that I'm going to be using is Debugging Game History. I'm going to be using Chapter 5 and also Chapter 29. Chapter 5, it talks about, avatars, non-player characters, NPCs. It's all about the avatar. And I wrote this chapter traces how avatars have evolved to better reflect player identities and emotional needs. So this chapter basically it goes over, the way to express ourselves through characters and the impact it has on us and our individuality and how we feel when we play video games. And I wrote that this directly supports my thesis because avatar design helps shape self-perception, and it strengthens my research question by showing how personalization can increase emotional engagement and long-term play. The next chapter I chose was identities. And this chapter is actually talking about how the identity of the person playing the game is affected, which is exactly what I'm talking about, but it's kind of the way that the person playing the game is looked at. I really like how this article was written. It talks about the guy sitting at his desk, hunched over, yeah, paints a good picture of what a gamer is. It's kind of the gamer's identity itself. I feel like they're talking more about the real world than they are video games in this one. But yeah, this article also talks about identity. This discussion of avatars connects the identity by showing how people express themselves in games, whether as queer players, women, or people of color, even when the system wasn't built for them. And what I mean by that is a lot of games are set up to, cater to one audience. In the recent years, it's gotten a lot better. And it's true, like my brother was always advertised, like game. Oh, you can do games, and I was never introduced to that. And I'm a cis woman. I've never, like as I got older, actually my boyfriend introduced me to a lot of games, and I love playing games. And I'm like, wow, interesting. My point is, why was I not introduced to gaming earlier, whereas my brother was introduced immediately? Some external research that I'm going to be using are some video essays on YouTube. I was looking at video games and transgender experience. This video was really good because I want to look into different perspectives. Of course, I can only really talk on my own perspective. Yeah, I was actually thinking of interviewing my friends a little bit for this project. And then getting their input on whether or not they enjoy character customization. Specifically the friends that play video games, I think it'd be cool. I know a lot of people who spend like $200 on their avatars, so I'd be interested to interview them and ask them why and how it plays into their identity. Yeah, and then the next video essay I was looking at is the role of avatars and identity exploration in video games. And this was also a really good video. Basically exactly what I'm talking about. A little bit of differences because I think I'm going to go more into personalization. Yeah, but also researching how to do a video essay was good. And then here is my bibliography. Okay, thank you very much. I look forward to hearing your feedback, and